Hi everybody, in this video I want to show you how to find the mean of a frequency distribution. So in this case, you're not using the raw data to find the mean. You're using a frequency table instead. Now, when you're using a frequency table to find a mean, you need to remember that this is an estimate. It's not going to be exact. And the reason is because we don't have the raw data here. I only know, for instance, that there are two values between 16 and 20, or five values between 21 and 25. So this is another way to find the mean, but it is an estimate. If you have the raw data, that is always the best way to go find the mean, and that is accurate. But let's say I don't have the raw data here, or let's say I just want a quick estimate. How can I use a table to find an estimate of the mean? Well, what we do is we basically assume that all the data points are the midpoints. So I know that there are two data points in the class 16 to 20, but I don't know the exact values. I don't have my raw data right now. So what I do is I pretend that they're both 18, right? Because that's a middle value. And then I do the same thing down the line. So for instance, I have five data points between 21 and 25, but I don't know what they exactly are unless I go to my raw data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that all five are the class midpoint, which is 23. So the first thing we're going to do to find our mean of the frequency distribution is to actually multiply those midpoints in those frequencies. That's a shortcut way instead of adding, right? When we find averages or means, we're basically adding up a total first, right? Well, here, if I know that two values are going to be 18, instead of writing 18 plus 18, I can write that as 18 times 2. Or instead of writing that there's five values that are going to be 23, again, 23 plus 23 plus 23 plus 23 plus 23, I can write that as 23 times 5. So I'm going to go ahead and start a column that multiplies here. So how do you multiply in Excel? We always start calculations with an equal sign. So I hit the equal sign first. Now, again, you can type here, but I encourage you not to type things in that you don't have to. Click the cells that you want. So what we want to do to find a mean of a frequency distribution is we use our midpoint column. So actually, let me highlight here. We're going to use our midpoint column. Make that light orange. And we're going to use our frequency column. Let's make that one light green so you guys can focus. And those are the two columns that we want to multiply. So I'm just going to hit an equal sign. I'm going to click the cell here, 18. So I'm going to click the entire cell. I'm not going to write 18. I'm going to click the cell. And then I'm going to use Shift. It's Shift 8 on my computer, but it's the little asterisk sign. That's your multiplication sign in Excel. And then I'm going to click cell D3, which is the 2 for the frequency, because I want to multiply these two values together. I want to do 18 times 2. And then I'm going to hit equals. And Excel is doing that multiplication for me. I'm going to do the same thing for the next row. I'm going to hit an equal sign to start. This time I would like to multiply 23 and 5. So I hit the cell for 23. I do, for me, Shift 8 to get that asterisk sign. And then I hit the cell. I'm just clicking the cell where the 5 is, which is cell D4. And then I hit Enter. And I'm going to do this down the line. So I'm going to do this one times this one. I'm going to do equals this one times this one. Now, there's a lot more shortcuts I can show you. I don't want to overwhelm you too much here. Oops. Let's delete that one and this. And then finally, this one times this one. And again, now why am I using the cells and not just typing numbers? Well, the reason I am is because if I had to change something later, watch this. Maybe this 5 was supposed to be an 8 and I change it, then my number updates over here as well. I don't have to redo the math because I didn't select the 5, I selected the cell. And then whatever number's in that cell is the one that's getting multiplied. So we do like to click cells in Excel so that if we update data later on, all my formulas are still going to work. Now, after I have all those things multiplied, I really need to add them up because basically an average is a total, right? So I'm going to click the cell below, or it doesn't really matter where you click it. I'm going to hit an equal sign. And then the formula for adding is sum, S-U-M. So I hit sum, just plain sum, double click it, and then I can select those cells. And when I'm done, I just hit enter. So again, if you want a total, the formula that you're using is called sum. So we hit an equal sign, type in the word sum, again, just the plain sum one, select our numbers here, and I get, oops, I do something. Oh, I selected this one by accident. Let me try that again. Equals sum, and I select just my data. Sorry, I selected too many. And then I hit enter, and there's that 867. Now, the other thing I need two sums. So my sum of my frequencies is that 867. And then the other one I do need the sum here of my regular frequencies, like how many data points do I actually have? I need that piece as well, right? So again, I'm going to use that equal sign. I'm going to start typing in sum, and I'm just going to highlight and hit enter. So again, if you're using a total, then you can go ahead and use sum here. Now, once I have these two values, then the rest is just a division problem. And you can either do this by hand if you want, if you're getting sick of Excel, or we can do it in Excel. The mean of the frequency distribution is going to be this total here divided by this total here. So I'm going to, excuse me, go to a new cell. Sorry about that. I'm going to go to a new cell. I'm going to hit an equal sign. Any calculations are always equal signs first. And I would like to divide 867 and 29. So I hit the cell where the 867 is. I'm going to click the division sign, which just looks like a fraction bar on your computer or laptop. And then again, I hit the cell where the 29 is. And I hit enter. And there is my approximate mean for the data set. This is the mean of the frequency distribution. So this is a little bit more advanced for Excel. If you're not comfortable with doing this, then you don't have to, right? Because it's not quite a straightforward formula. You have to do a little bit of work. Notice that for Excel, you still need to know the math. You still need to understand what you're trying to calculate, right? So Excel can crunch the numbers, but it requires the person who's using Excel to actually understand what they're trying to do. So here, we were able to use Excel to help us with the calculations, right? Doing that multiplication and then doing those two sums, and then doing the division at the end. But ourselves, we actually need to know what we needed to compute first. So this one's a little bit more advanced, but if you find Excel useful and you like Excel, this is a great way to get some of those calculations done with the frequency table, again, a little bit faster.